Hey, my wonderful people, a pleasant afternoon to you. All right, beauties, and lovely people. I don't want to think I'm calling them beauties. So, women beauties, men lovely men. All right. Out of this Jeffrey Shuttleworth and Spice's saga, it sort of compels me to speak on something that I hope that the church realizes and get their act together. Now, this has nothing to do with Jesus. Jesus will always be Jesus. He's the King of Kings. He's a Lord of Lords. He is a conquering Lion of the tribe of Judah. He has not changed and he will never change. He will always be the best being ever. He will always be God and always do good to us, even when bad is happening in the world. So it is not about Jesus, but it is about the church itself, who, for me, in many instances, have separated themselves from Christ. They have not promulgated, they have not promoted, and subliminally, they have not even advocated the kingdom message that Jesus preached. They have not emulate his characteristics in how he dealt with sinners. Jesus was the most compassionate, gentle, meek, but firm being in his human form at the time when he dealt with sinners. He didn't deal with them as how they treated them, especially under the Mosaic law. Stone the adulterer to death, stone this one to death, beat them up, curse them out, be vitriolic, condemning. I mean, he has and had the power and has the authority to condemn and did not. The only time Jesus spoke about condemnation and was very harsh was to the pretentious ones, whom he knew their hearts were whitewashed, sepulchres, the Pharisees and the Sadducees. These were church leaders and church people. But outside of that, he was very meek, the most meek, mild, compassionate, but no nonsense. He called a spade, and he never, sit down and lie with fleas. And notice I'm not saying dogs. In other words, he was an agent of change and transformation. So the church has separated themselves, believe it or not. And that is why today people are cursing the church. They actually sowed the seed for this to be happening. I never dreamed a day that people would be vitriolic and disrespectful and disregard pastors. The things that I hear them say with ease and comfort, maybe 10 or more years ago, they would not have done that, but the church sowed the seed. One of the sad realities of the church, and it's not every single church, so don't feel daunted if you're not that way. It therefore means that the message would not apply to you. They're the most judgmental. I faced most of my difficulties, most of my heartbreaks came from church people. When them decide that they're going to ostracize you, reject you, spread rumors and lies and gossip and blackball you, cause others to go against you. Let me tell you, if you don't have Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior, you can crumble unto death. I don't really have a particular affinity for church people. My memory of them is horrible and horrid. I just hold on to the unchanging arms of Jesus and ask him to help me to employ the strategies that he has given to live this life successfully. And that means loving those who may, who have done me wrong without a cause. And churches have failed in loving people and treating people as somebody who goes to a very compassionate doctor to say, Doc, this is what is wrong with me. And the doctor say, come, I'm going to do my best to heal you, to cure you, to treat you properly, that this thing never bothers you again. But instead, the church adds fuel. If they ever think that you do something or they find out that you have done something, let me tell you, man, it is like as somebody who is sick with something that is not necessarily terminal, but deathly or deadly or debilitating. And they say they're going to visit the lawyer's office to treat them of that disease. So you can imagine that they will get no results. And the church has been disastrous, unfortunately, in the lives of many Christians and non-Christians. A non-Christian will come to church and may not dress appropriately. And let me tell you, the eyes that they get, they feel a negative energy, you know, the bad treatment, and again, they have just completely missed the mark of Jesus. And if you notice, they said that, I don't understand this man. The Pharisees, and they said this man is just round around the sinners. You know what I mean? Not understanding that he came to save the sick, the lost, the downtrodden, the hurting. Not knowing that he sees beyond what you're looking at on the outward, and he reaches down on the inward and heal the inward so that the outward can be healed as well. I went to somewhere to eat, a nice little place, and they had music, and I love the liveliness and the dance. Once it's good and clean and fun and all of that. And I looked and I said, my God, look at a number of these old fogies, old people. And they danced and enjoyed themselves. And I said, you don't even see anything. And if you go to church, and I was looking at the contrast, and people might say it's the devil. Not necessarily, not everything they blame the devil, not necessarily. The Bible talks about the pride of life, the lust of the flesh as well. And I'm not speaking about the lust of the flesh in this case, meaning, Ecclesiastes encourages us to enjoy our lives once it's good and clean and fun. And I'm looking at these old people. I mean, proper old people we're talking, you know what I mean? And they're enjoying themselves, dancing to good, clean, fun music, and then eating. And when you go to church, and even when some of the church music play, they might see them rock a little bit, unless the songs are very fast and it has you, jiving and moving. And I'm saying, it's a way how these places make them feel welcomed. Like you still matter to us. Though you're old, you still matter to us. And the church doesn't make you feel that way. They don't. It is a sad state of affair. Am I saying that we must be lauding sin? No, I'm not. But sometimes you're so sin conscious that we don't realize we start to lash out even when no sin, so to speak, has been committed. Although, they talk about the sins of omission and commission. And God is not expecting us. He understands this body is flawed. People will never ever stop making mistakes. It's just that as you go on, it reduces and reduces. But Jesus doesn't want us to be sin conscious. You get up and, Lord, I sin. No. And that is how the church has treated people, as though people are walking sores. Walking sores, always. Even when they get into treatment, you don't give people a chance to breathe. And you have failed and missed the mark. You have not operated as how Jesus did. Every time a sinner was placed before him, he dealt with them gently. He dealt with them with compassion. Yes, he would say, I don't want you to do this thing anymore. But he never condemned them and treated them badly. You don't do that. That's not how you get people to change for the better. And sometimes you hear them preach, people not looking out against sin these days. Really? But we own lick out and lick. Not that they lick anymore. The poor people them don't know what to do. That's not the best way to get people to be transformed. It says love covers a multitude of sins. It's a very deep and wide meaning. It's multidimensional. It is multidimensional. You welcome people, you feed them, you disciple them and treat them with honor and respect. And without you even have to tell them sin, they will know and say, you know what, God, I don't think I want to live this life anymore. Help me to overcome doing this or that or the third, or being this individual. And it takes time. Remember, 40 years God worked by Moses, before he used them. 40, because the flesh no easy, and plus the devil out never compound it. But the church, generally speaking, has not been loving. That's why the membership dwindle and the visiting dwindles. They're not welcome. They rather go out to a dance where people say, heal them, get them a high five, get them a drink, and them dance their troubles and sorrows away. The church has not been effective. They have not been, unfortunately. And this saga between the two individuals that I mentioned has really made it more pronounced. Churches, you need to check yourself. before you wreck yourself. Guys, you know what to do with TikTok and YouTube. Subscribe and give me one of those lines, please.